Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today I am filming the saving like your favourite books, for your favourite books from favourite author tag. Andie over at Reading probably tagged me in this video about a month ago, but where I've had literally like a month hiatus from BookTube. I've only just got around to filming it, but I am really excited about filming it. The reason I have my iPad in my hand is because, if you guys don't know, I'm currently filming things on my phone as I can't afford a camera at the moment. So obviously when most people have their notes in their phone, I have mine on my iPad. I've had this iPad for like, no joke, almost 10 years now, so all I can literally do on this iPad is use notes. I can't really do anything else on it. So yeah, that's why my iPad's in my hands. I'm not like being distracted or like not paying attention or anything. But first off, what I want to say is I don't really have many favourite authors. I have a lot of favourite books, but there are a very select few authors that I've read a lot of books from. And I also haven't read a lot of popular authors, so a lot of people get really shocked when I tell them like I've never read Leigh Bardugo, I've never read any Lady Taylor books, who else? And like other really famous people like Sarah J Maas, for example. Where's Sarah's books? I've got a couple here. Yeah, Sarah J Maas, for example. I only read her books because when I was about 14, 15 and I actually discovered BookTube, that was where I literally like found every book I ever read was BookTube. I'd never like kind of searched for them myself. I just went by what people on BookTube were saying. So that's how I discovered Sarah J Maas, for example. Like I've read Sarah J Maas because of BookTube, and I've still not finished ACOTAR or Thrones of Glass, so there's that. So there might be like, there's one author on here from my childhood, and there's another author here that's actually non-fiction, so you might not recognise some names, but don't worry, I am trying to get around to reading as many popular authors as I can, but obviously I don't have all the time in the world. No one has all the time in the world. We all wish we had all the time in the world to read books, but we don't. Anyway, I'm just going to jump straight into it. The first author I'm going to talk about, and if you didn't think I was going to talk about this author, then you clearly have not watched my previous videos, which is fine. You're going to learn about it now. But my favourite author of all time is Cassandra Clare. Cassie, I've read her books since I was like, I think I discovered them all on Instruments at like 15, 16. And I've literally read all of her books up until that point. The only books of hers I haven't read are Ghost of the Shadow Market, Chain of Gold, because I'm still getting to it. I've got like a lot to read before there, but this book obviously only came out in March. And what was the other one I haven't read? Ghost of the Shadow Market, Chain of Gold, and Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. Although I do own all three, I just haven't got to them yet. But I'd say the one book of hers that I would save is City of Heavenly Fire. I know people are going to be like, how can you save the last book in a series? Like, it wouldn't exist without all the other books and stuff. And I get that. But I feel like City of Heavenly Fire for me was such an epic ending to such a long storyline that if it wasn't as big as it is, I probably would have reread about 10 times by now. Whenever anyone asks me what my favourite Cassie book is, I say City of Heavenly Fire. I just feel like to me it was just such an epic ending to a series, and when I read it I was actually in a book hangover for like 2 weeks. I actually could not pick up another book and read anything else when I finished City of Heavenly Fire. Like, it honestly wrote me off. So I definitely just saved that one. The next author I'm going to talk about is John Green. Again, in my teenage years, I read all of John Green's books. Anytime John Green releases a book, I tend to buy it and read it just because I feel like I should now that I've read all of his books. The book of his that I would actually pick is Turtles All the Way Down. If you asked me this question about 4 years ago when I was 16, I probably would have said The Fault in Our Stars, or Looking for Alaska. Looking for Alaska is my second favourite, but Looking for Alaska was my favourite up until he released Turtles All the Way Down. And when I read Turtles All the Way Down, I was going through mental health problems myself at the time. And the fact that I had read a book from one of my favourite authors at the time that discussed a mental health issue was so important to me. And I've reread it a few times now. I reread it for the mental health-a-thon this year, and it's one that I could just reread and reread constantly. It's become a comfort read for me, so I would definitely keep that one. The next author I'm going to pick is Tahada Mafi. I've only read her Shatter Me series. I have the last book to read, and I have bought furthermore to read as well. But the book that I would pick is the first book in the Shatter Me series, just because if it wasn't for that book, like, Juliet would not have the character development she has throughout the whole series, which makes that book incredibly important to me. Like, Shatter Me is a series that I absolutely love. I know it gets a lot of hate and I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's one that I absolutely adore. And if it wasn't for that first book, it would just, like, Juliet would not be Juliet. Like, if she wasn't imprisoned, if she didn't meet Adam when she did, if she didn't meet Warner when she did, like, she would just not be the person she is. And I feel like that's such an important thing in the book, like, who Juliet is as a person and her morals, I feel like, make the storyline. So yeah, I would definitely keep that one. My childhood author was Jacqueline Wilson. When I was younger, in primary school, like year 5, year 6, all I read was Jacqueline Wilson. I read all of her books when I was younger. I have still actually read most of her books. I'd say I haven't read them since I was like 16, 17. So anything she's released from like 2016, 2017 onwards, I haven't read. The only one I've bought since then is We Are the Beaker Girls, which I still haven't read yet, just because Tracy Beaker is an OG, so it had to be done. But growing up, I read her books all the time. I loved her. Like, and these are my like childhood years, not my teenage years, like my childhood years. And there was one book of hers which my copy got completely battered because I read it all the time, and that was Cookie. Obviously Cookie deals with like very big issues, as most Jacqueline Wilson books do. They deal with a lot of social issues, but Cookie was always described as a bigger girl with brown hair and glasses, and that was literally me when I was younger, minus the glasses. I have glasses now. When I was younger, I was literally Cookie, and in the end of the book, when she moves to the seaside, that's what I always wanted to do, which is now what I've done. I live by the sea now. So yeah, I don't know why I love that book so much as a kid. I just read it and read it and read it and read it and read it to the point where the front cover of my book actually ripped off. So that's my favourite Jacqueline Wilson book. Non-fiction wise, there is a comedian called Ruby Wax. If you don't know who she is, she was a comedian, but she also then went and got a degree in neuroscience and mindfulness techniques, and she's written 3, maybe 4 books regarding mental health now. I have read all of them. She's got Mindfulness for the Frazzled, she's got How to Be Human, and a couple of others. I've read all of her books. Those books really helped me during A-levels when my mental health issues were at their worst. And the one book of hers that I would keep is Mindfulness for the Frazzled. That was the first time in my life that I learned that I was not the only person that struggled with depression and anxiety. I was not the only person that needed to get help, and I wasn't alone. So that book means a lot to me. I still reread it if I'm having a really bad time. So yeah. The final book I'm going to talk about, I used to say the author of this series, and I'm not going to say her name. I used to say the author of the series was my favourite author of all time. However, recent events and recent comments that she has made I can't even describe to you how wrong they are. Like, I can't think of a word stronger than wrong, but there are so many swear words I can say right now, but I'm not going to swear on my channel like that. But she was basically bang out of order to do with comments that she was making. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, look at her Twitter, look at what everyone has said, look at the comments she has made in the past about a certain group of people in this world, because it just makes me so mad. So I'm not going to say that she is my favourite author. However, the Harry Potter series is my favourite book series of all time. I read the first book when I was 7 years of age. I still reach for the books when I'm having a bad day. I have 3 of the illustrated ones here. All my other illustrated ones are at home. I will not let her comments and her hate tarnish my view on those books, because those books mean so much to me, and to me, an author is not their book. A book is its own self, and the author is just a person that had a hand in writing it. I mean, I know that sounds really silly, but I will not allow her to ruin the series for me. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But my favourite Harry Potter book of all time, and the one out of the whole series that I would save, is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I know a lot of people are like, why Order of the Phoenix? Like, that's when Sirius dies, that's when this happens, that happens, blah, 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 blah. But to me, like, Order of the Phoenix was that point in the series where you were like, crap. Okay, it's all going off now. Voldemort's coming. This is real. We're all gonna die. Like, it was just that moment, and Sirius was my favourite character, so it hurt when he died, and I cried a lot. But I feel like that is the book that has the most depth to it. Other than, obviously, Deathly Hallows and everything that happened in Deathly Hallows, the last 3 books in general are the books that have the most depth to it, to me. I know all the books were important in building the storyline, but for me, Order of the Phoenix was the one where you learnt so much. You learnt the prophecy, you learnt why Harry, and just, yeah, that would be the one that I would save. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to tag some people to do this now. I'm going to tag Chloe at Chloe Reads Books. I'm going to tag Emily Kathleen Reads. Who else shall I tag? And do you know what? I'm just going to tag anyone who hasn't been tagged to do this and wants to do it. If you want to do it, consider yourself tagged by me. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's not the finest video, but I feel like I really wanted to do it, and I think it's a great way to get to know a booktuber. So yeah, if you liked this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share it, and I will see you guys with a new video very soon.